U/Yyrna Askreddit, what is better in the US than in Europe? Welcome to AutoGenLabs, daily Reddit content, by robots, for the internet, barbecue, you guys do good barbecue, diversity of large mammals, diners, I love diners, national parks, wide open spaces in nature, drop Alaska over a map of Europe and it's insane to think how much wild space there is in the US. Accessibility for the disabled is ubiquitous. Cut-out ramps on most sidewalks. Wheelchair access to nearly every building. Handicap parking by the front of most establishments. Braille in every elevator, telemachine, public building signs. Automatic doors. And more. These accommodations help the disabled. But also help everyone, including those with strollers, those carrying an armful, those moving large items, etc. As a European, I would say road trip with campervan. Here in Europe it's a nightmare, while in the USA they are bit parking spots. Bit roads, wilder, campsites, or you can just park near someone nice. And it's easier to get into a wild place without human touch. Big forests, long empty roads, etc. And even regular campsites. They have a lot of very natural one with lot of private space. Here you're lucky if you have a small bush between two narrow places. At least in my country. Wild animals, those beep have almost everything and we make do with squirrels and geese. Number of food options open past midnight. Free bathrooms everywhere. I'm from Los Angeles but live in Portugal now, and the only thing I miss is the food options. Specifically Jewish delis and Mexican food. I went to visit my family in LA last week and ate so much amazing food. Super expensive now though. When did a corned beef sandwich become $25? And a beer $9? Lol. The US national parks. There are so many beautiful natural wonders in the US. They are available to everyone. They are protected and well maintained. Mexican food. I'm from California but live in Germany. I miss Mexican food more than I miss my family. I can't speak about the entirety of Europe, but as someone who has lived in the US and Germany, there is not really an understanding of convenience here in Germany. In fact, if you look up the word convenience in a German English dictionary app, the top hits you get are genial, suitable, and praktisch, practical, which are in no way the equivalent to convenience. This is a trend you can observe in pretty much every facet of life here. Sure, there are great things about living here, but there is not one German who ever asks themselves, how can we make this easier for people? This lack of convenience often collides with Germany's penchant for choosing the squarest peg to fit into a round hole in rather funny ways. Like the supermarket near my apartment. It actually has a parking lot. Unfortunately, this parking lot sits 1.5 meters up from where the entrance to the supermarket is. What is the answer our German engineers have come up with? A staircase, not a ramp so you can bring your cart to the car. Oh no, it's a staircase, or a local street tram stop that is on the opposite side of a highway from the buildings it services. You think there might be a way to get over or under the highway so you can get to those buildings? Right? Nope. You have to walk in this incredibly stupidly laid path which takes a 200 meters distance and means you have to walk 2.5 kilometers to get there. Yes, I measured, during which because of fences you have to pass by the buildings 3 times. Another example, and maybe a separate point, is that Germans don't really explain information that is necessary to know. They just sort of expect you to know it. It's like this beat get beamed right into their heads. I guess I never noticed it when I lived here before because everyone knew the procedures for things. Because that's the way things have been done for centuries. Live in a new area. This was all just built last year, so the streets are brand new. And they don't have street signs. The amount of Germans who have temper tantrums when they are trying to find an address in this area is like catharsis for me. It gives them a chance to feel what it's like to exist in this country if you are a foreigner and don't already know where to find everything. There are a lot of things Germany does better than the US. And I readily admit that. But convenience is completely foreign here. Sorry for the mini rant. Less people smoke in the States. I hate that everywhere you go in Europe you're always walking into a cloud of second-hand smoke. It's like Europe is just one giant smoking section. Buying things online. Since many big companies are in the US, you can get the things they sell sometimes a good bit cheaper because of tax. Infrastructure for the less physically able people. It's codified decades ago in the US. Living space. The amount of space outside the big cities you have available for housing is just crazy. Amount of ice in drink at meals when eating out. 24-hour stores, at least here in the Netherlands, there are almost no stores that are open 24/h. Air conditioning. Access to stuff. My family is from Italy. A lot of changes in the last few decades, but if you want something, anything, it's way easier to find in the US. To get really specific, I am a hobby farmer. I love looking into different animal breeds and raising them. You can find almost anything you want in the US, and people are particular about breeds. When you go to other countries, some have a variety of breeds, but usually the only thing you're going to be able to find is the breed that developed in that region or country. In the US, so many things have been imported from everywhere over time. You can find almost any breed. Restaurant food. American cities seem just to have much more diverse food options. I love that it's easy to find great Mexican, Chinese, Japanese, French, Italian, and American cuisine in most any city, at least along the West Coast. On the flip side, I loved how easy it was to wander to a bakery and butcher in Europe and get delicious fresh bread, etc. Less Walmart superstore shopping and more small stores. Gas prices. Big box stores like Walmart, Target, everyone loves to hate them, but the convenience is underappreciated. Unlimited soda refills. I'm not a huge alcohol drinker and I can't tell you how much money I've spent on soda in Europe. Integration of immigrants. Salary for most professionals. Water in restaurants without asking for it. With ice, for free. It's a bit weird to compare one country to a whole continent of totally different countries. I've just realized that it's the middle of the night in the US. Sorry my fellow Americans, I will double this question later. Right turn on a red light. Shopping. In the US there are lots of 24-hour stores with huge selections and low prices. In Europe, the stores are much smaller, and have more limited hours. Iced beet coffee. Land prices. The North American model for wildlife management is far superior, e.g. the public owns wildlife, not landowners. Generally uniform acceptance of credit cards. I almost never bring cash going anywhere except specifically to maybe a farmer's market or fair in America. When I'm Europe, I've experienced multiple random places that don't take credit cards. Like even established restaurants in cities that just surprise you at the end of the meal saying, "It's cash only." It's the capital of the world in terms of media creation and consumption. Most household names are American. Whether it be Marilyn Monroe, Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, Muhammad Ali, I could go on and on. All the main movies and you could argue music are American. Even sports stars like Michael Jordan and Babe Ruth are known around the world. Corn dogs. One thing that I have found refreshing is that Americans don't give a tinker's beep about what the rest of the world thinks. Prices. Mercedes S-Class is about half of what in Europe, even though it's still built in Germany. Open spaces. Far more of them. Disability access. The ADA. A lot of older cities in Europe aren't terribly wheelchair friendly. The US has ramps on most sidewalks, handicap parking, braille on most signs, etc. Movie industry. The list goes on and on. 1. Animal variety. The US literally has wild alligators and manatees in one region and polar bears in another. We have varieties ranging from salmon to mountain lions, buffalo to hummingbirds. 2. The food supply is unbelievable. Wheat alone makes up 35.5 million acres of land usage. That is one crop among literally dozens and dozens. The US also grows corn, oats, barley, animal forage of various varieties, and all kinds of other grains. 3. The ability to transport goods and humans has been ridiculously overpowered to a level never understood by Europeans. Rivers in Europe are fine. The US river system, along with strategic canals, is exponentially better than Europe's. Not only do we have several important rivers that drain directly into the ocean, the Mississippi, the Delaware, the Hudson, and the Columbia, but all of them have extensive networks that make watering farms and transporting goods much easier. Even the tributary rivers, like the Ohio River, the Missouri River, the Snake River, and the Tennessee River, are all at or close to 1,000 miles long and each have their own tributary systems for. Europeans don't like this, but the US military structure is multiple times better than anything Europe has. The US has about as much naval ship tonnage as all other countries in the world combined. US military technology simply puts the combined forces or Europe to shame. For the past 70 years, the US has worked to protect all of Western Europe, and now much of Eastern Europe, asking in return that European member nations dump *2% of their own GDPs into it. India, a far poorer country, puts 15.5% of its budget into its military. The US has literally protected Western Europe from invasion and attack for almost 70 years. Almost for free. Tell me that nations like France, Belgium, Iceland, and Portugal haven't benefited from such an arrangement. Buttermilk pancakes with real maple syrup. Ranch dressing. If you don't want to travel internationally, US has 48 states each with their own attractions and you don't have to fly. The remaining 2, Alaska and Hawaii, will be flying or take cruise. Burgers, bacon, and guns. Quality of medical care. It's expensive as beep, and sometimes cost prohibitive, but the quality of treatment available here is second to none. Between experimental drugs and our grant-based medical research process, nearly all medical breakthroughs come from the US, and we do a fairly good job of pushing new methods into the mainstream medical community. Before I get brigaded by a bunch of people complaining about cost. I get it. Our system is far from perfect and in some ways even broken. But as far as the quality of care is concerned, with the beep, water pressure, fast food, I was shocked when I've been to the US and it was literally fast, like getting a whole menu within 2 minutes. Also, the unlimited sauce and soda refills are nice to have. Some offer it here too, but most don't. Thanks for watching. This has been an AutoGenLabs production. That means that this video was created by a robot out of content on Reddit. We show all account names and list them in the description to credit the Redditor community that makes our work possible. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to our channel. We post new videos every day. If you have any suggestions for videos you would like to see, please leave a comment. Our human department for public relations reads all of them, or won't be let out of their cages again. Goodbye.